Good morning, everyone. This is Prophet Hannah coming back to you on this beautiful Sunday. Just want to talk to you about a few things that God has put on my mind this morning. And it's one of the things I've been dealing with a lot of spiritual warfare in my life, in all phases of my life. And one of the things that it does for me is it actually makes me stronger from a spiritual standpoint because um, it uh, leads me even more and more to depend on God. So when the enemy is attacking you, you should depend on God even more. You should pray even more, fast even more, talk to God even more. And that's what I've been doing because I know one thing without God's permission that, certain things in my life cannot happen. So I know that God is aware of it. He knows what I'm dealing with. He knows those who are backstabbing me. Um, he knows the things in my life that are costing me financially. And so he's aware of it because he has signed off on it. And there's a reason why we go through the things that we go through in life because God wants to enhance our spiritual eye, if you will. But I want to talk to you this morning about First Peter chapter 4, verse 7. And here's what First Peter chapter 4, verse 7 says. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. So this is a warning here that Peter has written. And so the first thing, we are aware and we know that the end of all things is at hand. How do we know these things? Well, let's look for a minute. Let's just look. So we know that the Gulf Coast is now full of submarines. Russia has sent submarines, warships. We have submarines and warships down there. Canada has warships down there. There's also Russia also sent 27 submarines into the Pacific. So in essence, America right now is surrounded because we know they also have China has bases in Canada. And so we see also that Russia just signed a deal with North Korea that they will help each other. Of course, we're allies with South Korea, and South Korea and North Korea is almost at war. We see Israel getting ready to invade Lebanon. And here's something very interesting. Germany, a couple of weeks ago, Germany released their World War III civil defense plans to their citizens, advising them where to go in case of war. They're actually investing a lot into their subways and their metro stations because they can house millions of people down there in case of war. The British government is now focusing on preparedness for war. They have also released a survival manual for their citizens. Has anyone heard any warnings or preparations from our government here? No, because of course they want as many citizens to die in an attack as possible. That's called depopulation. There was a snowstorm in Montana that just occurred middle of June, right? We saw where Colorado was hit with baseball-sized hail. We see where a plane headed to Australia, um, from Australia to Spain, was hit with large hail that uh, when the plane landed, half of the nose was missing. We see parts of South Florida underwater. Um, and there's all these different things. Like, for instance, I was watching the some of the NBA finals, and I noticed that the Dallas stadium was made in the shape of a six. Australia has passed legislation to roll out a digital ID in December of this year. In Iceland, did you know that in Iceland, a digital ID is required to buy a house, to turn on your electricity, gas, phone, water, and so on and so on? You have to have a digital ID. Well, you say, Prophet, well, digital ID is not the mark of the beast. No, it's not, but it is the next step to it. It's going to be connected to it. Because remember, anything digital, they can control, okay? And so what is that tied to? What is that prepping for? That is prepping for the seals, okay? Right now, we're in a prep mode. The enemy has us in a prep mode for the seals, okay? You see these things coming together to lead up to that point, okay? And so even on food, since February 2022, did you know that more than 82 million farmed birds have been killed? We recently had 5 cows in the United States that have been infected and died from bird flu. In South Dakota, a 1,700 cow dairy sent a dozen of the animals to slaughter after they did not recover from the virus. A farm in Michigan killed about 10% of its 200 infected cows. H5N1, bird flu, was found on 5 more dairy farms in America. 3 in Minnesota, 2 in Iowa. Update to that. 18 in Texas, 1 in North Carolina, 22 in Idaho, 1 in Wyoming, 10 in Colorado, 8 in New Mexico, 4 in Kansas, 25 in Michigan, 5 in South Dakota, 7 in Iowa, 1 in Ohio, and 6 in Minnesota. What do you think they're doing? This stuff is done on purpose. They're getting rid of the food. What's part of the Green New Deal? To remove meat from your diet. No beef, no chicken, no meat whatsoever. So their plan is to remove meat from your diet, to remove sweets from your diet. Anything that is good they want to remove from your diet and replace it with insects and engineered food. What does this play into? Revelation chapter 6, verse 5 reads like this. When he opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, "Come and see." So I looked, and behold, a black horse, and he who sat on it had a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 living creatures saying, "A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil of the wine." People, the food is going to disappear. That's going to be part of the black horse. Third seal. Food is going to disappear. Okay? The process has already started. It says, what did I read? It says, be sober and watch unto prayer. So you should be praying right now. You should be asking God to show you things. You should be asking God, what are you supposed to be doing? You should be locked in. You should not be watching these movies, the Exorcist, and all this stuff. You know, movie stars that are sleeping with children and this nonsense. You shouldn't be watching that sort of thing. And so remember when I talked about the black and white horse that ran through the financial district in the UK. And one, of course, shows the Antichrist coming, and the white horse does, and the black horse shows the famine that is coming, along with a financial collapse that is coming. So we see that there are many things that are coming that we should be aware of, that we should be preparing for, preparing our loved ones for, preparing our friends for, preparing our enemies for, because these things are going to catch them off guard. They're not going to know. They're going to go and take the mark of the beast, and it's going to be part of our fault because we didn't tell them and we didn't warn them. At least warn them enough so even if they do miss the rapture, they will understand the time that they are in and what is going on when they see this man on every monitor around the United States. Okay? And when they're required to worship him, they're going to see it. So what we are in the midst of right now is there is a great falling away occurring from God. What is a falling away? It means that you were once connected to something of someone. You once served someone and you decided to turn and go in a different direction. Okay. You decided that you no longer wanted to follow this person or this God. So you have made a decision to turn and go in a different direction. In other words, to worship someone else. A falling away. So a falling away. What does the Bible say about a falling away? 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1 through 3 says, "Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." Why does he have two names? The first half of the tribulation, he will be known as the man of sin. The second half of the tribulation, he will be known as the son of perdition, because he will be at the midpoint, he will become possessed by the devil. Okay. So the great falling away. Let's look at this for a minute, because I think some of the notes that I have here you will find very interesting. Because we need to know who is preaching to us. We need to know who is pastoring to us. So check this out. Because you don't want to be deceived. You want to be sober. And you want to watch. You want to watch the preachers. You want to watch the pastors. You want to watch your friends. A survey by the Cultural Research Center at Arizona Christian University, conducted just 2 years ago, found that just slightly over only 1/3, which is 37%, of Christian evangelical pastors hold a biblical view. Wow, that's scary. This was done by a Christian university surveying Christian pastors. Here's another one. We see here also that the same survey said that the majority of Christian pastors, 62%, hold a hybrid worldview, which is the blending of multiple and different worldview belief systems. 62% of the pastors. Okay. So what you see now is you see majority of the pastors and preachers in the pulpit work for the devil. Because if they didn't, they wouldn't have worldview, 62%. And you see the real pastors, the true pastors, the members are turning on them and kicking them out the church. I have a few friends that were removed from churches, and I knew that those men were men of God because I saw their fruit. You have one pastor here who was preaching against homosexuality, and the police was called on him. Someone snuck into the church, and while he was preaching about it, called the police, and the police responded that he was preaching hate. For the time would come when they would not endure sound doctrine, but according to their own desires, because they have itching ears, they would heap up for themselves teachers, and they would turn their ears away from the truth. In other words, true pastors would be evicted from the churches. Fiery trials that men of God are going through. 1 Peter 4 says, "Think it not strange concerning the fiery trials which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened to you. But rejoice to the extent that you partake of Christ's suffering, that when his glory is revealed, you may also be glad with exceeding joy." It means you will be blessed for dealing with these things. 62% of the pastors, 62% of the pastors. What else do we have here? We see that concerning the people, a Methodist church loses 1 million Christians in a day after embracing LBGT. According to George Barna, 6% of Americans had a biblical worldview in 2020. And by 2023, that figure had dropped to just 4%. So you still think the people that you work with, that the people that you go to college with, that the people that serve you still have your best interests at hand when they find out that you're a Christian? Only 4% of the people have a biblical view. The first national study of Americans' worldview since the COVID-19 lockdown shows that the incidence of biblical worldview has fallen to a mere 4%, a drop of 1/3 from the 6% recorded years earlier, which was 2020. In fact, the 6% benchmark measured recorded in January 2020 may prove to be the high water mark of biblical worldview among American adults for the foreseeable future. According to a new report from American Worldview Inventory 2023 from the Cultural Research Center at Arizona Christian University. Here's the second group: the number of adults who don't possess a biblical worldview but still hold a substantial number of beliefs and behaviors consistent with biblical principles. I call them ATM Christians because they go to God when they need something, has also fallen dramatically. Only 1 of every 7 adults, 14%, belong to the category of what Barna identifies as an emergent follower. That number was 25% only 3 years ago. Still think our country is a Christian country? Here's a category: world citizens. The bulk of the American adult population, 82%, falls into the world citizen category, described as people who may embrace a few biblical principles, but generally believe and behave in ways that are distinct from biblical teaching. I don't need to read anymore. So you still think that when the rapture occurs that a bunch of people are going to get raptured? No, it's only going to be a handful. Remember, the word says that wide is the road to destruction, and many will travel thereof. But narrow is the way to life, meaning the way to God, the way to Jesus, and few will travel by it. When the rapture occurs, there will be very few people that will go. Very few. We are in the midst of a great falling away. The churches that I go to now, the attendance has dropped significantly. Only a small amount of what used to attend. And we know of that small amount, there's only a small percentage that truly believe. I just read to you the statistics. 4% have a full-blown biblical view. 4%. 82% of the people in our country only have a few biblical characteristics. Be sober, be watchful, pray, fast. Keep your robe clean without spot or blemish. Jesus is coming soon. When I woke up this morning, actually when I went to sleep last night, I had this great pressure on me that something big was about to happen. Whether it was the rapture or whether there's a lot of people who are about to die. There's something heavy weighing on me spiritually that is about to occur. That people they will be shocked. They will be surprised at what's coming. There's something very big that's getting ready to happen. Will you be ready? Will you be prepared? Or will you run with the masses? God bless you. God keep you. Until we talk again.